Hello, everyone. Come on in for book club number 26. We are at number 26. I have a good topic to talk to you about, which will help many of you, I think. It's a mini intense therapy session that I'm going to give you right now, and I think you can take it into your lives and really use it. So come on in. When I have a few more people in, I will start. Hi guys. Orna, you just got the book and love it. Yes, we're talking about A Radical Awakening, book club number 26. The stuff I talk about in these book clubs are actually additions and greater complexities that I go into really than is even gone into the book. So no matter if you're joining me for the first time or you haven't read the book, it's okay. What I talk about in the book club is standalone. It stands on its own. Loving the book. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me. Okay, so the reason that I write all the books I do, all of them, the parenting books and now this one, A Radical Awakening, is really because of what I see with all the clients I work with. And what I see chronically and historically is all of us looking for our surrogate childhood that we never had, our surrogate parenting that we never got, our surrogate fantasy mom, our surrogate fantasy dad that we never had. And because we never had this, there is an emptiness inside us. Who is that surrogate fantasy father, fantasy mother? What is a surrogate fantasy childhood? Every fantasy parent that we desire has certain qualities, and so does the childhood. What are those qualities? The qualities of unequivocal, unabashed, unremitting acceptance. Acceptance of who it is we are. That is level one. Then we want validation for who it is we are. And then we want a celebration of who it is we are. In the book, I talk about the triple threat, that we are all seeking approval, validation, and praise. So acceptance, validation, and celebration. We all are looking for that, and many of us did not get that. Most of us did not get that. So because we didn't get these three things that in the book I talk about a lot, we go out looking for surrogacy. We go looking for the next parent, the next childhood experience that we did not have. So we go empty like little children looking for someone to fix us, someone to heal us, someone to help us. Little children really eager. So we take that little child inside ourselves to go get the healing that we know we want. We know we have a missing piece and we're going out there to get it. Now, because we have a missing piece, we also have a protector for the missing piece. When the missing piece was missed, right there was a protector. And in the book, I talk about this a lot. We create a protector, aka the ego, aka the false self, the false persona, the mask, to protect us from the pain of not getting that need met. So part 2 in this book, A Radical Awakening, is all about the different masks we wear. It's really important to figure out what mask you've been wearing for the most part. Are you a shield who just shuts down, cannot handle emotions, cannot show vulnerability, cannot be fragile? Or do you shift your gear and go into bleeding empath? You're a bleeding empath. You just do everything for anyone just to get those needs met. Are you a people pleaser? Are you a conflict avoider? Are you a tyrant? Do you become like controlling? Are you a perfectionist? Right? So I talk about this a lot because in order to get our needs met, when we didn't get our needs met, we had to protect ourselves from the pain. So we create these masks, the comedian, the overhelper, the sweet one, the angry one. Everyone has different masks. Yes, and many of us are many things at different times. I talk about it in the book. So we have these inner needs, but we have these masks. Now we take the inner needs and we take our masks to relationship after relationship. Every time we are like, please meet my need. And the other one is coming to you saying, please meet my need. And both of us are children with big fat egos right behind. The moment our need is not met, boom, the ego comes and that's it. Now we are in a pattern. And this is what gets repeated over and over. We take our little children wanting to go get our needs met. The need doesn't get met. There comes the ego pattern and the mask. Now, how to break that? That's what my book is about. That's what all my books are about. Is how do we help not do this to our children? Those are all my parenting books. And what to do when you're a woman or an adult man. So someone asked, Divine Feminine asks, what happens when the masks are gone? Well, when the masks are gone, you think you feel blank. For a while, you're like, who do I be? How do I be? How can I act? And everyone around you is like, hello, where are you? Because everyone is now playing the game. So for a while, I call it no man's land or no woman's land, where it's really disorienting. It's like what happened after the pandemic hit us. We were like, whoa, where are we? All the rules changed. All of the game changed. And we didn't know the new pattern. We didn't know how to negotiate with the players because we were new. Everything had changed. The earth had changed. Remember in the pandemic in 2020, how disoriented we all were? We were like, what is this lockdown? What is this social distance? Now these words are commonplace, but back then we were like, what the hell is going on? So that's how it feels when we don't have the egoic masks. It's not going to go away completely, but we can watch the mask rather than wear the mask. The masks are always going to be there, but we can watch the mask rather than wear the mask. We can choose, do we want to wear the mask? So that space now that is created when the mask is a choice versus it just comes upon you is very disorienting. So for a while we're disoriented. No rules, we don't know where we are. Never played this game before. But then eventually you begin to meet new people in the new place. You begin to understand that there is a new way to be. There is a new answer. There is a new solution. There is a new path. So then we meet new people who now deal with us without the mask, and we begin to create new pathways. This whole process I literally talk about in this book, A Radical Awakening. So if you're interested in learning your own masks or how to take out your masks, but I'm helping you here too in case you don't want to buy the book. So when we take our little selves and our big fat egos with us, relationship after relationship, when our needs are not being met, ego comes down, we're in a pattern. Okay, now here's the thing I want to talk about today. The other person is doing the same damn thing. Hello, you're not the king and queen of the universe. Other people have issues too. Wow, you thought only you want your mommy and your daddy. Everybody is looking for their mommy and daddy. Okay? There is no adult around. Even your mom and dad are looking for mommy and daddy. There is no adult. You look around and you go, hello, toddler, 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 and I'm a toddler. So when you get to that epiphany, you begin to realize that something needs to change. I cannot get my needs met by a toddler. Then if you really wake up to the realization that you've been wanting fantasy parent, now you have a choice. Do you combust the relationship? Do you yell and scream and act like you've been betrayed? Do you act like it's their fault? Do you get angry with them and shut down and just do your damn pattern over and over again? Or do you say, you know what? They too have great inner needs. They too are traumatized children, probably more than you. Now what you going to do? Tell them to go, like done? Sorry, if you don't meet my needs, I'm gone? Well, most of us do that. We do. Now, I'm not saying to stay if they're abusing you, but I'm also saying stay a second if they're not physically abusing you. Okay, so I'm not talking about physical abuse. Physical abuse, get out of there before he ended or she ended the last abuse. Just get out. So I'm not talking about physical violence and abuse. But anything else, stay a minute. Go deeper. Understand what's happening. We're both toddlers in the room going, me, me, me. So, when you have the awareness that you're a toddler, you see, when you can look in the mirror and go, okay, I'm not really 35, I'm 5. And I'm not really 52, I'm 2. When you're honest with yourself in the mirror, now you can begin to understand that everyone has issues just like you. Doesn't mean you stick around, but it also doesn't mean that you are a victim here. You can choose to leave at any point, but understand what's happening. That both of you are caught up in wanting fantasy mom or dad. Most relationships are wanting fantasy mom and dad. So once we understand that, we can not only have compassion for ourselves, but also for the other. And now, through this compassion, each one, now we don't know what the other will do. Now they can go ahead and you've had compassion. Now they can go and do the work. But you need to come back to do your own work. And that work is to reparent yourself. So in this book, A Radical Awakening, the entire chapter, I think 24, is embracing the inner parent. And we embrace the inner parent by letting go of the fantasy parent. And as we let go of the fantasy parent, we have compassion for how our parents were traumatized. And then how our partners are traumatized. And that we're all looking for approval, validation, and praise, which I call the triple threat. Tomorrow or the next book club, I'm going to talk more about embracing the inner parent and teach us how to do it. But for now, as an introduction, I want you to understand that every partner you were with, even the ones who were physically abusive, were really damaged in childhood. And because of that, they are not able to show up the way you want. So when you think that you have needs, don't have a righteousness that the other is supposed to meet your needs. In fact, the more fantasy you have that they're going to meet your needs, they're not going to meet your needs, and your ego is going to come up and do the egoic dance of the shield, which says, no one cares, I'm never going to give a damn, I'm never going to trust anyone, or the shield of the mask of the controller, or the mask of the people pleaser. The mask will come on. If we don't have this awareness that each person is on a different point on the continuum of consciousness, we are all not on the same point on the continuum of consciousness. Each one of us is a different point. So if we don't understand that, then we will not be able to proceed. So what are your thoughts? Is childhood trauma our destiny? No, that's what I'm here for. Do not make it your destiny so that we don't make it a destiny. So this is the book I'm talking about. This is a radical awakening for your inner growth. This is not a parenting book per se. It's about parenting yourself. So how do we integrate? How do we do this? We have to begin doing it. Day by day, we have to begin healing ourselves, because our own healing will allow us to not engage in negative patterns with other people. Our own healing will allow us to enter wholeness, so we are not so hungry. And if we're not so hungry, then we can stay in our power, in our essence, and our own worth. But if we're hungry and they're hungry, that's it. And that's what you see in most breakups. Two people's egos are going crazy because each one came in wanting the fantasy parent, wanting the fantasy childhood. And we're looking for the surrogate because we did not get it in childhood. So, waking ourselves up to our own inner healing, to our own inner parent, is the only way. Someone writes here, this is hard to hear, but it's necessary. So, grab this book, A Radical Awakening. It's a pathway to this process. I explain our hunger. I explain our inner needs. I explain our masks. I explain the lies culture tells us and how to break out of it. This is life's work. No matter how successful you are, no matter how successful your children are, it's going to come back to this. How hungry am I for worth, for approval, validation, and praise? Each one of us is looking for unequivocal acceptance. But just by that phrase, right, looking for unequivocal acceptance, we have to see, if each one of us is looking for unequivocal acceptance, how can we ask the other to give it to us? Because they're asking it from us. So I call it the twin beggar syndrome. I have a great course on relationships called Free to Be. It's going to go on sale next week, so you can explore it there. I talk about this a lot in all my courses, and I'm putting them all on a 50% off sale next week, so keep an eye. And you begin to do the work. You take courses, you begin to understand possibly the language, a way to explain. What I'm saying is not written in our blood. It's just a way to understand what happens to us, right? So we can understand. When we understand, we can now make choices. If we don't even understand, then we're just zombies. So this is how we need to understand that each person is bringing their inner child and their ego, their inner child and their ego. And if we don't see our own inner child and ego, we won't be able to see the others, and we will keep repeating relationship trauma. So to break out takes a lot of courage, no doubt, takes a lot of work. It's not going to be easy to do this. But if you give yourself a year to heal, don't go on vacation, don't spend on cars and shoes. Spend it only on self-growth. Go for seminars, motivational speakers, whoever inspires you. Read books, listen to podcasts. Slowly, you will begin to observe yourself more and more. And then, as you heal yourself, you now put yourself in situations and relationships which are also wholesome and healing. You don't attract the same bullshit. You don't, because you've transformed yourself. So don't blame your partner. Don't blame your parents anymore, especially if you're over 25. You got to take your own charge, your own wholeness into your own hands. So this is how, when you commit to growth, when you go on a journey, you will change your patterns. But if you're not even aware, and you're just thinking it's the other person, that you were wonderful, but the other person was a mess, then that's just dumping responsibility of your growth on the other person. I see this all the time. Women, men coming to me, blaming their partners. I always say, no, the other person is irrelevant. The other person was here to show you your own holes, HOLESs, your own wounds. Don't blame the other person. They're not here to be your mom and dad. That's not what they signed up for. They came without realizing that you are not their mom and dad. So once we become clean about these situations, now we take our own healing in our own hands. You know, in many relationships, one will be extra possessive, extra jealous, extra controlling. And you're like, what the hell? Right? If you're the other person. That person has a lot of relationship trauma, a lot of parenting trauma. And they are dumping it on you. But if you don't realize that, then your ego gets activated and you get controlled. And then you're in a pattern too, if you're a people pleaser especially. So the other person isn't here to change. The other person isn't here to heal you. The only one here is you. This is your one life, your one day. It's Sunday today. Nobody can take your joy, your power, your worth away from you. You got to hold on to it. And if you haven't held on to it, you got to get it. And how do you get it? By going back within yourself, by becoming your greatest ally. I mean, I cannot say this enough. I come every damn day to say this. You are your greatest ally. If right now you're sitting on a couch, if right now you're watching TV, if right now you're taking a walk or you're cooking and you're really unhappy because your relationship isn't working out, wonderful. Stop. Become aware. Go, oh my God, she's talking about me. I'm really unhappy about my relationship. It could be with your dog, with your mother, your sister, or your daughter. She's talking about me. Oh my goodness, what did she say I should do? What did she say? She said, first, stop. Pause. And then begin to realize that you've given your power away. Your power of your healing, your happiness, your joy, your power of your power away. Just by the fact you're sitting there so unhappy and thinking about the other one, why doesn't he? Why doesn't she? Why don't they? Why don't they? Why don't she? Why don't he? If you're just doing this constant carousel, it's because you're not stepping off to realize that you are the common denominator and you can start healing you. So this is an invitation to remind you, get off that carousel because it can go round and round all year round. And say, you know what? I'm going to heal me. F everybody, I'm healing me. How do you do it? Very simple. Sorry to say, you have to take some courses, you have to read some books, you have to talk to some people, go for a coaching session, get a therapist. It's only certain ways. It's like, how do you want to lose weight? I'm sorry, there are only certain ways. Stop eating so much and go to the damn gym or run outside or move outside, right? There is nothing else. There is no magic to this. Our greatest problems come from our psychology. That's it. Every human is suffering their own psychology. So if you don't take your own psychology in your own hands, how are you going to power through? So this is what my invitation and my reminder to you is. Don't get stuck on the carousel of blaming others. There's no one to blame. There's no one out there. It's only you. Step off the carousel. Leave everyone else going around. You step off. Grab a good book or a self-help course and start your inner work. This is what this book is about. A radical awakening. Thank you for joining me, guys. I'll be back when I'm back. And we'll talk more about how to reparent yourself. Bye, guys.